Welcome to our weekly discussion of all things current in California politics. I'm Walt Gray, joined this week by reporter Emily Hoeven, political columnist with the San Francisco Chronicle. Emily, good to hear from you today, your opinions. SB 553, that's a bill to ban retail workers from stopping shoplifters. Very controversial. A lot of people are angry about this. Why was this bill proposed, and do you see it going through?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it addresses an issue that we're seeing more and more often in California, especially in cities like San Francisco, where there is a lot of rampant shoplifting, and it puts retail workers in a bind because, if they approach the people who are stealing, there's a possibility of that escalating and becoming violent. Obviously, we saw in San Francisco there was the Walgreens guard who fatally shot a shoplifter, and that has created a lot of turmoil and uproar. But then on the other hand, if they do nothing to deter people from stealing, then there's going to be a lot more stealing, and that's not good for businesses, especially small businesses. And so I think you're going to see a lot of controversy on both sides. As to whether it goes through, I don't know. I think on the one hand, they want to protect employee safety and also protect people who are stealing. We don't want to have more fatal deaths. But again, I think we're going to see a lot of business interests who are going to be frustrated because they have very little recourse for protecting their businesses.
Yeah, unless it's your own business, a private business, a mom and pop grocery store or something. The governor has also proposed the 28th Amendment to the Constitution, which would restrict gun ownership. It seems like he's making some good points here. What is he doing in the big picture with this?
Well, I think we're sort of seeing him strategically kind of craft his image and try to reach this sort of middle ground when it comes to appealing to Americans. On the one hand, he keeps reiterating that this amendment, which would restrict various levels of gun ownership, including raising the minimum age to buy a gun from 18 to 21, preventing people from buying assault rifles, having longer periods of waiting, and having stricter background checks. Those are all things that a lot of public polling has shown that the majority of Americans do support. He's actually going to be going on Fox News on Monday to discuss this proposal. This will be his first appearance on Fox News in more than a decade. And I think we're seeing him trying to say, look, I support the Second Amendment, but I also want to propose things that a majority of Americans support, including Republicans. And I think that this is him kind of trying to craft that middle ground as a national leader, potentially for a presidential run, again, showing that he has solutions that no one else is putting forward.
Yeah, that Monday showdown with Hannity versus Newsom could be epic. And there's a Fox News poll with their viewers saying that they support a lot of the things that Newsom is talking about, which is different in itself. You have a column out in the Chronicle talking about how you feel the state needs to do more to help the mentally ill.
Yeah, so the Chronicle editorial board is actually this weekend rolling out the first of several pieces looking at some of the state's biggest issues. And one of them is obviously the mental health epidemic that we're seeing on the streets. And the piece basically traces the state's history from the deinstitutionalization of its mental hospitals in the 50s and 60s, and how the state never really created the community-based treatment centers that it said it would. And it resulted in many mentally ill people essentially ending up homeless or in jails and prisons. And to this day, mentally ill people who have a history of violence or a history of criminal involvement, criminal records, are the hardest to treat in various facilities, and so facilities will reject them, and that means that they're back out on the street and they're hurting people, they're hurting themselves. And so we are basically arguing for the state to either incentivize providers to accept and treat this population, or to create new facilities that are specifically aimed at treating the complex needs of this population to ensure that they are safer and our streets are safer as well.
Okay, Emily Hoeven, thank you. Have a good rest of your Sunday, Emily. If you'd like to reach out to Emily, you can do so at emily.hoeven@sfchronicle.com.